129. I only assigned you 3 whole problems to do. So let's make sure we feel comfortable with this. So this is page 129. So reminder, we are talking about chi-squared. This is the new chapter. So problem number 1, it says find the proportion of chi-squared. So chi-squared kind of looks like x squared with 8 degrees of freedom. That is greater than 20. Okay? So that's going to be on the calculator. Clear. So we're going to go under second distribution, our favorite new button, and we're going to find chi-squared CDF. So it's number 8. So our lower, we wanted it greater than 20. So our lower is going to be 20. Our upper is going to be 1,000,000. And then degrees of freedom, it said 8. So remember, this is finding us an area of a chi-squared distribution. So if we paste that, that's how it's going to show up in the book. And so we have 0.01 for an answer. Okay? And then that goes along, that becomes our new, what do we call it?
Sorry, what was the calculator command?
Second distribute x squared CDF. So that becomes the p-value. So remember, the reasonable p-value is 0.05. So that's definitely less than 0.05. So depending upon what our null hypothesis and hypothesis would be. All right. So clear that. Some of you are talking too much. That showed up right. So then problem number, what kind of yum yum did you get me this time?
Caramel mocha.
Oh, you had me at caramel. Thank you. Oh, this Monday is just the perfect Monday. Appreciate you. All right, problem number 2. Problem number 2, find the chi-squared with 15 degrees of freedom, greater than 20 as well. So it's going to be done relatively the same way on the calculator. So we're going to go second vars, or second distribute, down to number 8, which is chi-squared distribution. So our 20 is fine, our big number is fine, and then we're going to change our degrees of freedom to 15. And paste. So that's going to give us 0.17. So this was a p-value that it gave us is 0.01. This one gives us a p-value of 0.17. Okay. And remember, the p-value you want greater than 0.05. So it looks like the second one works. So as our degrees of freedom for the exact same problem goes up, our p-value then changes. And then number 3, they said find the proportion chi-squared with 25 degrees freedom. But now they're saying they want less than 20. Bless you. So let's figure out that p-score. So on the calculator again, clear that. Let's go normal CDF. Number 8. And we want less than. So our lower value we want small. So we'll make that, whoops, that's not small. We'll make it 0, not 90. And then our upper will be 20. And then the degrees of freedom, 25. Okay, so again, this is a way that we're finding our p-value. So we do that. So we're getting about 0.25. So again, so we had a p-value of 0.05. Obviously, that's much greater than it. So you either get greater than or less than with your p-value. Okay. So let's take a look at the next couple questions on page 129, talking about the Netflix. You with me so far? So find that on your page, and we'll make sure we do these. And then that'll be all I have. Let's see, Flush made it. Travis didn't make it. Geo, of course, made it with the coffee in hand. Aaron, not here. He's here.
I didn't know how late I wanted to be today, so I was like, I better just grab a coffee and just start.
Love it.
And then I didn't want it to be that late. So.
You're not the only teacher people have to do.
What?
Don't say that. I want to be the special one.
I get no one to coffee.
I appreciate you, Gio. It was very kind. All right. Ready, set, going. All right. Netflix. What is this Netflix they speak of? I'm kidding. Netflix has 11 movie categories. Drama, comedy, horror, etc. They wish to test whether the distribution of types of movies it rents has changed from the year 2010. They conduct a chi-squared test and obtain a chi-squared statistic sum of all of the chi-square values of 23.6. Okay. So this is going to go with, this is talking Netflix. So they've done all the math and they're saying that their chi-squared value is 23.6. So they filled out the whole table. They went through all 11 categories, listed them all, how many that they see, how many they think that it should be, and they realize after they've done their chi-squared test, remember that's the observed minus the expected quantity squared, all divided by the expected, and then you sum up all those columns. So that's what they did to get that 23.6. State the null and the alternative. So our null is that the distribution has not changed. And then our alternative, that the distribution has changed. Okay? So we can make it pretty simple. And then number 5. What is the degrees of freedom on this? Where do we get the degrees of freedom? How many movie categories are there? It's not from the sum. How many movie categories are there? 11. So I'm going to go 11 minus 1. So I'm going to get 10 degrees of freedom. Okay? And then we want to calculate the p-value. Okay? So movie distribution has not changed since 2010. Movie types has changed since 2010. So number 6, we're going to do our normal, or our new best friend, our chi-squared CDF. Okay, so we have to go one way or the other. So I think I'm going to just go large on it. So we're looking at, they told us 23.6 is what we would have gotten with our chi-squared. And we're going to do some large number here. And then our degrees of freedom, which is 10. So if we plug this into the calculator, we should be able to get some sort of number. Hopefully. Clear. So second distribute, number 8. Our lower, we said, is 23.6 because that's our chi-squared value. Our degrees of freedom, we claim, our upper, we're going to make big, so let's make it like 1,000. And our degrees of freedom is 10. Paste it up. Giddy up. So it looks like our p-value is 0.008. So our p-value is roughly 0.008 from doing that math. Okay, and then they tell us to use a little bit different information. Number 7 says use an alpha value of 0.04 and base it onto this. Okay, so what conclusion? So they're telling us we want to use this alpha value. Again, this is your people who are looking at your stuff and saying, hey, we're seeing this, we're seeing this, we're seeing this. Okay, 0.04. So with that 0.04, we can say we reject the null and we find strong evidence that the distribution has changed. Question. Why would the distribution have changed? What do you think? If this was a true legitimate study, why would the distribution change? What has changed with Netflix over the years that might have inspired different populations?
They changed their shows.
Change of shows? Okay. But I remember when yeah, you used to get stuff in the mail, right? Yeah, they used to mail you the DVD. So they, like, you go out to your mailbox, get the DVD, go put it in, you'd watch it, and then I think there was different levels of subscription. So you could get some. I think the highest tier was you could get up to 8 DVDs at a time, and then you just mail them each back. And what you did is you created some sort of list on their website saying, I like this movie, I like this movie, and you put it in order, and then you could say, oh, there's a movie that's coming out. Well, I want to move that up to my #1 spot. And then they would just go down your list and just mail you the DVDs, and as you mailed them back, they would mail you the new ones. And it was relatively quick, but it wasn't as quick as I turn on my Netflix. Oh, I heard, show ABC was a pretty good show. Turn it on, you're like, this show sucks. Turn it off. So being that they really changed how you could watch a lot of TV and not be subjected to having a DVD sent to you. Each. How did I used to do it? When I did it, I found that on my way to school, I would swing by the post office and drop my DVD in the post office mailbox with the hopes that that would get a quicker return for my next movie. So that's basically what's changed. So when they say that, hey, our movie types have changed, yes and no. If they would have stayed consistent with their business, I bet you it wouldn't have changed too much. But now, I mean, let's face it. Has anyone in here watched about 6 hours worth of streaming video in a day? Yeah, this guy. Let's face it. You put a whole series on. Challenge accepted, right? Yeah, the whole world can figure out. So, yeah, well, I mean, there definitely is some stuff, and there's definitely things that I've watched. It's like, never going to get that hour and a half back in my life. Okay, would a higher chi-squared statistic, this is number 8, would a higher chi-squared statistic make it easier or harder to reject the null hypothesis? Explain. So the higher your chi-square, that's the summation of your observed minus your expected quantity squared divided by your expected. The higher the chi-squared statistic means the smaller shaded region of the chi-squared curve, which means a smaller p-value. Okay? And then our 2 assumptions met. Explain. Unknown, random sampling is not discussed, and expected values are not given, and the service of Netflix changed. Okay? It's considerably different. My gosh, how many different streaming things are out there? I don't know what the number is, but I know that, and I'm sure you have the same thing where you go on your TV and you want to see what things are available. And there is like a whole bunch of different ones. Some say they're free, some say are for subscription. But when it comes really down to it, think about how like cable is really suffering because of streaming services. Okay? because now you can kind of a la carte what you want, right? You know, there's sports stations you can stream. There's movies you can stream. There's ones that are all just old 70s and 80s television shows that you can stream. I mean, if you want to do that. But think about how much nickel and diming they're doing to us as society. You know, oh, it's only $6 a month. It's not a big deal. Right. $6 with 10 different subscriptions each month adds up. Yeah, but it's only. I understand your information. I would say during that whole lockdown with COVID, man, all of those things just skyrocketed. Parents have to work from home. Kids supposedly have school online. That was successful, right? I have quite a few students in my CP Algebra 1 who are doing pretty poorly. And one of the parents kind of just jumped on my case saying, yeah, but they had COVID during their learning and their teacher didn't do a nice job. And I'm like, but your child can't even multiply 2 single-digit numbers together in their head. And that happened in 4th grade, and COVID didn't happen then. That's kind of like Stirrup's language, kind of saying that to a parent. You probably suck as a parent. But not directly saying it. Just, you know, that's like the little thing in my mind. I used to have a filter, or I didn't have a filter, and that filter has now gotten better. So now I think things and don't go from there. All right, so chi-squared is not too bad. It's relatively easy. I feel. I think the notes on this section are really good. So I would say let's have you all. This is what our plan is for this week. All right, so I would like us to make sure you have page 129 and 130 all done. And I did all of 129, so it's a little frustrating when I come check it out, check off the stuff, and you're here today, and I check it off tomorrow, and you don't even have 129 filled out. Well, you're not participating the right way. Tuesday, I plan on doing the review. Wednesday, we don't have normal school. No normal school. Thursday, from what you all tell me, is senior ditch day, which I think that turns Friday also into that to roll into a senior ditch weekend. No? So is this information still right?
People said it's 14 because they wanted 2 days off in a row in the middle of the week.
Gotcha.
I've heard about 98% saying
All right. Well, I'm not trying to goof up plans. So this is Monday, a week from today. So my plan is somewhere in here, including here, somewhere in there. You know, I realize I roll with the punches. You all know that, right? I have a quiz planned to go with the 7-1 to 7-3. Okay? Now, that's so I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying, you know, we have to have some sort of plan that we have formulated. Obviously, tomorrow being a review day, and of course you can use your review on the quiz. Just make sure you don't lose the review or if you miss tomorrow for whatever reason, make sure you watch the video and copy down the review to do that. Yeah.
Will you pull it out to school on Friday?
Do what?
Why did you put Friday as senior ditch day?
Well, I know if I was a senior and I had Wednesday off and then I took Thursday off, well, might as well take Friday off and have a whole 5-day weekend. That's Stirrup's thought process as an 18-year-old, but I'm just saying what's a good possibility. I'm not saying that you need to do that. I'm just saying what is the reality of it.
Yes, okay.
Let's face it, you seniors, There's nothing wrong with being a senior. You have Wednesday and Thursday off. Now you messed up. You're back on your weekend sleep cycle, and then Friday's alarm goes off. You're like, don't worry about it. So I'm kind of doing this. I'm reserving Thursday, Friday, and/or Monday for sometime in there. I want this quiz done. Now, I'm concerned gravely about this single period that is this is all of you who owe me a test or a quiz that hasn't been done yet, including some people since the beginning of the semester. Not naming names, not pointing fingers.
Take out all Scott's
And then it'll be a third of it.
Yeah.
Now you saw that stack. Well, then I show you my stack of my algebra 1s and my business calc. It's SMR. That's smaller. So 4 of my periods is less makeups than 1 period of stats. So I don't know what I did wrong. So I apologize. Okay, so you know what you need to work on. Get there. Yeehaw. And we still haven't found the other one. Again, did any of you accidentally make off with one of my calculators? I'm not saying you did.